Welcome back to another episode of Grizzly True Crime. My name is Grizzly, and today we're going to be talking about Dan Markel's case. Now, this case dates all the way back to 2014, and you guys have been asking me since before Charlie Adelson was on trial to cover this case. Now, that trial I unfortunately missed covering with you guys, but I caught as much of it as possible. There were actually 3 other trials before. If you know anything about this case, then you know there's been multiple arrests, the 2 hitmen, then we've got Catherine Magbanua, Charlie Adelson, and now his mother, Donna Adelson. So this case is still very much in the news in November of 2023 because Donna Adelson was arrested. So again, there's a lot of demand and requests for me to cover this. So I'm happy to do so. I thought, let's start the conversation, assuming that maybe you've never heard of this case, because that's always a great place to start. I mean, if it were up to me, I wish we could watch all 4 trials together right now and just start from the very beginning, from 2014, and see everything. But that would probably take like 6 months to actually do. You know what I mean? So let's just look at an overview of the case and then the latest probable cause affidavit, which is for Donna Adelson, because they give us a really great timeline recap, like a complete overview of the timeline of what happened here. Before we do, I know many of us here are visual learners. So I'm first going to show you just a little 2-page presentation so that if you've never seen or heard about these people before, then at least you can visualize who I'm referring to when we read through this PCA. Okay, so let's start the conversation. Please note that this content is for adults only. Viewer discretion advised. If you haven't yet, hit the subscribe, like, and share. There is so much that we can talk about in this case, especially with the amount of people involved and the very strange Adelson family dynamics. And will there be more people arrested or not? I don't know. People are speculating there could be more arrests indeed. So let's see. But let's start with an overview of the case. So the murder victim pictured here was Dan Markel. Now, he was a Florida State University law professor, actually teaching criminal law, and father of 2 when he was shot in his driveway in Tallahassee, Florida on July 18th of 2014. He died at the hospital the next day. He was born in Montreal, Canada, and was passionate about his Jewish faith. He married Wendi Adelson in February of 2006. She kept her name, and also after he was murdered, she immediately changed her children's names back to Adelson. Anyway, so then the couple had 2 children together, 2 boys, and they separated, Dan and Wendi, in 2012, and their divorce was finalized in 2013. So you can see pictures at the bottom here of Dan and Wendi, and on the right-hand side, that would be Dan with his parents and the 2 boys. Now we get to this, which might be helpful. If you need to just pause and look at it a little bit, hopefully it will help. It definitely helped me. It kind of reminds me of when we looked at Lori Vallow Daybell's case. Remember that whole like pictogram I made just like this, just like who's this and who's connected there and what all of that. It's kind of like that. So of course we've got Dan Markel right here, the murder victim. So we've got Harvey Adelson. He is Charlie Adelson and Wendy's dad, right? And Robert, we'll get to that. Harvey Adelson, the dad, and his wife, Donna Adelson. Harvey, successful dentist with his own practice, retired now. The family is relatively wealthy from my understanding. I mean, Wendi said on the stand, it depends how you define wealthy.
Is your family in South Florida wealthy? I know it's a relative term.
Are you asking me to speculate?
No, I'm asking if they're wealthy. You may, if you don't know, you say you don't know.
It depends how you define wealthy.
Okay. Are they millionaires?
No.
But yes, they were, on the world standard, very wealthy. And to think that they also paid hitmen like $100,000 to eliminate a problem. Like, wow, these Adelsons sure have an interesting way of solving problems. Anyway, so we've got Harvey and Donna, the wife. They had 3 children, okay? Wendi, Charlie, and Robert. Now, Robert Adelson is actually estranged from the family, and after you hear all about this case, you'll understand why. Good for him. Apparently, he's a very successful doctor living in Albany, New York. So, we're looking at Wendi and Charlie. Now, Charlie will be sentenced on December 12th of 2023. If you want me to cover that, leave a comment below. Maybe we can do that, especially if we start the conversation about this case, look at this PCA, look at, Donna Adelson's arraignment, which we will look at. I'll insert those clips here for you. And so, let's see what his sentence will be. He's facing life in prison. I don't know, with or without parole. We shall see what he gets, right? So, we've got Harvey and Donna. Wendi and Charlie. Charlie was dating Catherine Magbanua, featured in the middle in that picture with the 2 guys beside her. Now, her common-law husband was Sigfredo Garcia. She had 2 children with him. And he had a buddy, a friend called Luis Rivera, in this case known as the Snitch. He was a Latin Kings gang member at the time, and when Charlie was dating Catherine Magbanua, she went to a Halloween party with him, and she says that he approached her, or, as they were driving, he made a conversation, a little bit of small talk, like, hey, do you know anyone who could kill someone? Okay, and I think that was, from my understanding, about a week into them actually dating, which is quite odd. Wow, that escalated quickly, huh? And even worse, she's like, I actually do. Like, my common law husband's buddy is actually like a Latin Kings gang member.
We were at a Halloween party in Lincoln Road, and right before we were about to go, he got in the car with me and he asked me a question.
What was the question?
Do you know anybody that can harm someone?
And did you know anybody that could harm someone?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Who was that?
Sigfredo.
And so you can see the 3 people pictured there. Yes, they're already in jail. Now the snitch, he's got 19 years total in prison because he snitched. He made a plea deal. He was already in prison for racketeering charges when he was approached by investigators, and he spilled all the tea in exchange for a much lesser sentence. Catherine Magbanua was actually on trial. Then there was a hung jury. Then she had a retrial, and then she was sentenced to life plus 30 years plus 30 years. So 2 sentences of 30 years. So she's never getting out of prison. And then we also have Sigfredo Garcia, the guy who actually pulled the trigger, and he got life without parole. Now, when Donna Adelson's trial will be, I don't know, but we'll keep an eye on it, okay? So I hope that this is helpful of who is who and what happened, who's already in prison. I mean, Charlie's there, and his mom, Donna's like, yeah, I'm out. Once the jury came back and said guilty, she's like, yeah, okay, time to head to a non-extradition country, and not one like close by that makes sense. No, Vietnam. She's like, Harvey, pack your things, we're off. And I mean, it must be so weird to like pack your things and buy this one-way ticket, because that's not a red flag, right? And then say goodbye to your grandkids, the ones that you fought so hard over that you needed to eliminate a problem. Wow, you're saying goodbye to them forever and off you go to Vietnam? Well, of course, investigators, the FBI, were intercepting the jail calls between Donna and Charlie, and she had told him, I'm either going to take my own life or I'm going to leave the country. And so they saw the ticket she bought, they saw her plans, and intercepted her and arrested her right there at Miami Airport. So that's been an interesting thing to watch. Now, as I say, along the way, I've been watching as much of the 4 trials as possible over the years. I've seen little bits and pieces, and lately, I've been doing a bit of a deeper dive, especially because you guys are requesting it. At the time of Charlie Adelson's trial, I was actually covering the Jesse Kershevsky trial. So if you didn't see that, maybe you were busy with the Charlie Adelson trial, maybe you want to check out the Jesse Kershevsky trial, because that was also very interesting. And so, yeah, we missed the boat on that one. We can always watch it at a later stage if you really want to watch the Charlie Adelson trial with me or something. We could figure it out. But for now, I think this is a good overview. Now we're going to look at the probable cause affidavit and we're going to get into the timeline. I love it when they give us a really great overview, so let's do that. As you can see, this document is pretty new. November 13th of 2023, Leon County Clerk Court, right? So, to first appearance magistrate, defendant Donna Adelson. So I say again, for Luis Rivera, Sigfredo Garcia, Catherine Magbanua, Charlie Adelson, there's documents for all of them. PCAs for all of them that we could go over. But I think it makes the most sense to go over the latest one with the biggest timeline, Donna Adelson, Charlie's mother. Charges: first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, solicitation to commit first-degree murder. No wonder she freaked out because her son faced the same charges and the jury found him guilty, even though he seemed to be so cool, calm, and collected on the stand. For a minute there, people were saying, damn, he's doing well on the stand. But of course, with closing arguments, no, after that, not so much. Brilliant closing arguments, and the jury, they came back quick and they're like, yeah, guilty.
His demeanor remained so calm. It goes back to that old adage that, it's not so much what you're saying as much as it's how you're saying it that can be impactful on people.
So, summary of offense and probable cause affidavit. This affidavit sets forth probable cause to believe that Sigfredo Garcia and Luis Rivera murdered Florida State University Law School professor Daniel Markel, and the murder was arranged through Catherine Magbanua, Charles Adelson, and Donna Adelson in violation of Florida statutes murder per chapter 782. On Friday, July 18th, 2014, at 11:02 a.m., a report of a shooting was received at 2116 Trescott Drive, the home of Florida State University Law School professor Daniel Markel, in Tallahassee, Florida. Upon arrival, Tallahassee police officers found Markel slumped over in the driver's seat of his vehicle from an apparent gunshot to the head. Markel was transported from the scene to a local hospital where he later died from the injuries sustained during the shooting. The investigation of the crime scene found no indication that this incident was part of any other criminal intent, such as burglary or robbery. A neighbor heard a loud bang and looked out his window, where he saw a small silver or light-colored vehicle resembling a Prius backing out of the victim's driveway. He walked over to check on Markel, discovered him in distress, and called 911. It was a terrible thing that they did. They shot him in the head, and when this neighbor found him, he was apparently groaning and trying to talk but couldn't talk. And I mean, that's just so sad. Investigators located the victim's ex-wife, Wendi Adelson, at a local restaurant and transported her to the Tallahassee Police Department for an interview. During the interview of Wendi Adelson, she made statements suggesting the murder of Markel could have been arranged by someone on her behalf without her knowledge. Wendi indicated her parents were very angry at Markel and further suggested that someone could have arranged the murder thinking it would help her. Why would it help her? Because they were divorced, they had 2 kids, and Wendi wanted to move to South Florida to be with her mom and dad and brother and everyone. The whole family was down in the south of Florida, and Dan Markel got a court order where they had joint custody, of course, and Wendi was not allowed to move the kids all the way down south. So the Adelsons had a problem, and that problem in their mind was Dan Markel. And they had a very weird way of solving the problem, clearly, which is why 2 are already behind bars. So let's continue on. So they said Wendi indicated her parents were very angry at Markel, so now you have context if you didn't know that before, and further suggested that someone could have arranged the murder thinking it would help her. She specifically mentioned that her brother, Charles, aka Charlie Adelson, joked about hiring a hitman to kill Markel in the past. She spoke about it on the stand throughout these multiple trials. So did he. He also addressed it, and he did also say sometimes he just makes like crappy jokes, basically.
Did he ever joke about he looked into hiring a hitman, but buying you a TV as a divorce present would be cheaper?
He did make that joke. He tended to repeat himself, and sometimes he would make jokes that weren't very funny about all kinds of things.
She said her brother makes a lot of jokes in bad taste and had previously commented that he looked into hiring a hitman, but it was cheaper to buy her a television as a divorce gift. Wendi indicated that she did not think her brother would actually commit this crime. It should be noted that Wendi's mother, Donna Adelson, set a television repair appointment on July 11th of 2014 for Wendi's television to be repaired on the morning of the homicide, July 18th of 2014. And on the stand, Wendi made as if she set the appointment. That was from the first trial I'm talking about the trial of Sigfredo Garcia. Wendi said on the stand that she made the appointment, not her mother.
Who made the arrangements for that TV repair?
I did.
Your mom didn't make those arrangements?
I don't believe so.
So I wouldn't be surprised if one day she's arrested too. I'm just going to say it like that. Okay, so then records obtained from Best Buy show a service was completed on her television the morning of July 18th of 2014, the same date of the homicide. Wendi stated that after the divorce, she wanted to relocate to South Florida with her children. She felt her former in-laws would suspect her of murdering their son since she was denied the ability to move by the court. So she's like, oh dear, if I move right now, it'll be a red flag to my in-laws. Anyway, Wendi filed for divorce on September 10th of 2012. The divorce was later finalized by a marital settlement agreement, MSA, on July 31st of 2013. Investigators reviewed voluminous documents, including emails, text messages, and court documents. The review determined Wendi Adelson and her brother Charles, as well as their parents, Harvey and Donna Adelson, were determined to have Wendi and the two Markel children relocated to South Florida, where the Adelsons reside after her divorce from Markel. Markel objected to his ex-wife moving his children to South Florida, and on June 20th of 2013, Leon County Circuit Judge Hobbs formally denied with prejudice Wendi's motion for relocation with the children. After the court's denial, Wendi's parents, especially her mother, Donna Adelson, repeatedly tried to convince Wendi to coerce Markel into allowing the relocation to South Florida. Donna suggested the family offer Markel $1 million to allow the relocation, with Donna Adelson and her husband Harvey Adelson contributing a third, Wendi Adelson contributing a third, and Charles Adelson contributing a third. Donna also suggested that Wendi threaten to convert Markel's children to Catholicism, knowing Markel was very observant in his Jewish faith and that the religious practices of the children were of the utmost importance to Markel. Wendi Adelson's prior boyfriend, Jeff Lacasse, I hope I'm saying that right, stated that Wendi disclosed to him that Charles had seriously looked into hiring a hitman in the summer of 2013, and he was told it would cost either $15,000 or $50,000. Lacasse also reported that when he was visiting Charles Adelson with Wendi Adelson in the spring of 2013, Charlie Adelson bragged about being connected to a Cuban criminal element. It was learned that around the time of the murder, Catherine Magbanua was involved in a personal relationship with Charles Adelson. Magbanua's cellular telephone number was 786-564-1312. Call records show Magbanua as one of Charles' top contacts, and text communication confirmed the relationship was more than a friendship. It was later confirmed by Catherine Magbanua. Charles Adelson enlisted Magbanua, who then enlisted the father of her two children, Sigfredo Garcia, to carry out this murder. Garcia enlisted Rivera's assistance, and Magbanua, Garcia, and Rivera were compensated for their actions. Magbanua was the only link between Markel and the shooters, Garcia and Rivera. Magbanua's only ties to Daniel Markel are Charles Adelson and a couple of instances where she met Wendi Adelson. The only way that Magbanua, Garcia, and Rivera knew of Daniel Markel and his relationship with the Adelson family was through Charles Adelson. While in the interview room, Wendi wanted to call her parents to notify them of the incident. While contemplating aloud as to what she would say, she told the victim advocate sitting next to her that her parents were very angry with Markel and described it as a very effed up situation. Wendi then called and talked to her mother, Donna. After notifying Donna of the shooting, Wendi asked her to notify Charles of the shooting so Wendi would not have to do so. After Wendi's conversation with her mother, Donna Adelson called Charles' cell phone at 7:11 p.m., which went to voicemail. Charles then called Donna's cell phone at 7:13 p.m. with a call duration of 5 minutes and 47 seconds. At 7:29 p.m., Charles called Donna again with a duration of 6 minutes and 31 seconds. At 7:37 p.m., Charles called Catherine Magbanua's cell phone with a duration of 2 minutes and 49 seconds. Wendy's parents, Harvey and Donna Adelson, made contact with the lead TPD investigator at Markel's memorial service on Sunday morning, July 20th, 2014 in Tallahassee. They agreed to contact the TPD investigator to arrange an interview before returning to South Florida. The following day, the TPD investigator contacted Wendi on her cellular phone. Once the investigator identified himself, Wendi claimed to have a bad connection. It's almost like I'm going through a tunnel. And the call was terminated. Less than 5 minutes later, Wendy's attorney called the investigator and informed him that Wendi left town with her children and parents en route to South Florida. They ghosted the detective? The attorney could not provide a date for Wendy's return to Tallahassee and requested he be contacted for any further inquiries. Harvey and Donna Adelson left Tallahassee with Wendi and the grandchildren the day after the memorial service without speaking with the investigator as promised. Since leaving, no one in the Adelson family contacted TPD or inquired about the status of the investigation. Yeah, that's a red flag. Charles Adelson did not attend the memorial service for his ex-brother-in-law. In July of 2015, Wendi had her children's surname changed from Markel to Adelson. On July 18th of 2014, Markel left his home that morning and drove his 2 children to daycare on the west side of Tallahassee. Markel drove to Premier Health and Fitness Center. Markel arrived at Premier, where surveillance video shows a silver or light green Toyota Prius enter the parking lot after Markel parked his car. After Markel went into the health club, the video captured the Prius in the parking lot where the driver moved the vehicle to different parking positions while Markel was in the building. No individuals ever exited the Prius. Also, these gangsters in a Prius. This situation is not funny at all, but that picture to me is just like, what? They were in a Prius? Okay, gangsters. Additional surveillance video discovered for the day of the homicide showed the same Prius before and after the homicide, including following Markel into Markel's neighborhood immediately prior to the shooting. After analyzing the surveillance videos, the suspect vehicle was determined to be a 2006 to 2009 Toyota Prius with silver pine mica paint color. The Prius had tinted windows. Oh, okay, there's the gangster. Tinted windows, a sun-pass transponder on the top center of the windshield, a missing tow hook cover on the front bumper, and a black passenger side mirror casing. It was determined the Prius followed the victim throughout the morning and back toward his residence where the shooting occurred. This suspect vehicle fit the description given by Markel's neighbor after he heard a gunshot and looked out the window and saw the Prius backing out of the victim's driveway. Florida Department of Transportation, FDOT, records for SunPass on Alligator Alley, I-75 west of Fort Lauderdale on July 16th and 18th, 2014 had one account listing a Prius as a customer vehicle. The SunPass transponder activity was consistent with cell site data for Rivera and Garcia's handset travels. The transponder of interest in this case is number, and they give the transponder number there, per FDOT records. The SunPass account using the above transponder is a rental car company in North Miami, Florida. Law enforcement obtained the rental contract for a 2008 Toyota Prius on July 15th of 2014, 3 days before the homicide. The customer is listed as Luis Rivera with a contact number of. A second telephone number was also written on the rental contract, and there's the number, Garcia's phone, with the word brother written beside the number. The rental contract indicates the Prius was checked out at 6:15 p.m. on July 15th, 2014, and rented to Rivera through July 21st, 2014, 3 days after the homicide. The Prius rented by Luis Rivera on July 15th of 2014 contained a GPS device installed by the owner to assist with theft or non-return. The GPS company records have the vehicle location on July 15th, 2014 at 10:25 p.m. EDST at the parking lot of 7501 East Treasure Drive, North Bay Village, Florida. This was the location of Magbanua's residence at that time. I just love how they connected all these dots like that. Isn't it amazing? On July 18th, 2014 at 12:26 a.m. EDST, the vehicle was located at North Monroe Street and East 6th Avenue, Tallahassee, Florida. On July 19th, 2014 at 1:26 a.m. EDST, the vehicle was located behind 1505 Northeast 135 Street, North Miami, Florida. This address is the residence of Jessica Rodriguez, who was a girlfriend of and has a child with Rivera. Cellular location data for Magbanua, Garcia, and Rivera is consistent with them being in the area of Magbanua's residence during and around the time the vehicle GPS showed its location to be in the parking lot of Magbanua's condominium. Both Garcia and Rivera met with Magbanua the night before departing for Tallahassee to commit the murder. Analysis of Rivera's checking account revealed an ATM transaction took place in Broward County on July 18th, 2014 at 6:46 p.m. as they were returning to Miami from Tallahassee, Florida. Security video from the drive-through ATM lane shows Rivera driving a Toyota Prius up to the ATM at 6:45 p.m. As the Toyota Prius exits the ATM area at 6:47 p.m., a Florida license plate can be seen on the rear of the car. The tag characters match those of the car rental contract. Cellular records show numerous contacts between Catherine Magbanua and both Charles Adelson and Sigfredo Garcia. On one occasion, telephone records show contact between Garcia's handset and a cellular telephone registered to Harvey Adelson, Charles and Wendi Adelson's father, on July 1st of 2014. At approximately 11:47 a.m., Magbanua's telephone began attempting to contact Garcia's telephone. Over the next 5.5 hours, Magbanua attempted to contact Garcia approximately 48 times. Damn, that's a lot of times. At 5:05 p.m., Magbanua made contact with Garcia, and they had a conversation lasting 6 minutes and 22 seconds. Approximately 9 minutes later, at 5:20 p.m., Garcia's cellular telephone attempted to contact Harvey's cell phone. The cell records indicate this call went to voicemail. Telephone number was being used by Garcia prior to the murder and had been in contact with Magbanua's telephone number approximately 2,700 times between May 1st of 2014 and July 19th of 2014, when Garcia's cellular phone ceased activity the day after the homicide. Telephone number ending at 8153 belonged to Luis Rivera during the time leading up to Markel's murder. It's like they thought they were so smart, but no. The following contacts took place the morning of July 18th of 2014, the morning of the murder. 12 to 12:23 a.m., Rivera's and Garcia's handsets communicated with cell sites in the area of Roadway Inn on North Monroe Street. 12:01 a.m., Magbanua contacts Garcia over 1 minute. 12:07 a.m., Charles Adelson contacts Magbanua over 7 minutes. 12:34 a.m., Magbanua contacts Charles Adelson less than a minute. 1:02 a.m., Charles Adelson contacts Donna Adelson, his mother. 1:03 a.m., Charles Adelson contacts Magbanua, 20 minutes. 8:09 a.m., Donna Adelson contacts Wendi Adelson, 35 seconds. 8:50 a.m., Daniel Markel drops his children off at Creative Preschool. 9:02 a.m., Daniel Markel contacts Wendi Adelson for 1 minute. 9:12 a.m., Charles Adelson contacts Wendi Adelson, less than 1 minute. 9:19 a.m., Wendi Adelson contacts Charles Adelson over 18 minutes. 9:38 a.m., Charles Adelson contacts Donna Adelson, 30 seconds. 9:58 a.m., Charles Adelson contacts Magbanua, over 6 minutes. 10:07 a.m., Magbanua contacts Charles Adelson, over 1 minute. 10:08 a.m., Magbanua contacts Charles Adelson 9 seconds. What are they saying in 9 seconds? 10:09 a.m. Charles Adelson contacts Magbanua 6 minutes. 10:52 to 10:55 a.m. Neighbor hears gunshot and sees small light-colored vehicle pulling out of Markel's driveway. 11 a.m. Subject on phone with Markel. Markel was on the phone at the time. Attempts to call Markel back, and the call goes to voicemail. That person who was on the phone with Markel heard Daniel Markel saying, "Just hold on, just give me a minute. There's a car in my driveway that I don't recognize." That is so sad. So 11:01 a.m. Subject texts Markel asking if he's okay. 11:02 a.m. Markel's neighbor calls 911. 11:06 a.m. Donna Adelson contacts Charles Adelson, either attempted call or text. 11:22 a.m. Charles Adelson contacts Donna Adelson, 7 minutes. 11:30 a.m. Charles Adelson contacts Magbanua for 30 seconds. And at 11:31 a.m., Charles Adelson contacts Magbanua for 5 minutes. On the morning of July 18th, 2014, Garcia's telephone ceased activity just before 10 a.m. while in the area of Premier Gym, with the last text message occurring at 9:58 a.m. The next event on Garcia's telephone was text messages and or notifications being received at 12:29 p.m. Immediately afterward, at 12:30 p.m., Garcia placed a call to Magbanua, which was the first contact initiated by Garcia after the homicide. This call occurred when Garcia's phone was in the area of Lake City, Florida, on or near I-75 approximately 1.5 hours after the shooting was reported. Approximately 2 hours after Garcia and Rivera arrived back in Miami, Magbanua departed her residence and went to Rivera's residence while attempting to contact Garcia telephonically. While Magbanua, Garcia, and Rivera were together, Magbanua had telephonic contact with Charles Adelson. Magbanua traveled north to Charles Adelson's residence, where she would remain until the following morning. Magbanua stated while at Charles Adelson's residence, Charles Adelson was armed and acting frantic. Charles told her his mother and father had just left his residence and left money that his mom had washed. At Adelson's trial, Magbanua testified that the money she received was damp and moldy, consistent with being physically washed, and was stapled into $1,000 stacks. Magbanua took a Xanax that was provided by Adelson and fell asleep. The next morning, 7/19/2014, at 9:44 a.m., Magbanua left the residence and was told by Adelson that the money was in the trunk of her car. Magbanua attempted to contact Garcia. Communication records in Charles Adelson's iCloud showed Donna Adelson telling Charles Adelson that she was outside your house at approximately 8:59 p.m. on July 18th of 2014. Cellular records for Donna Adelson and Harvey Adelson show an arrival time of 1:25 a.m. in Orlando, Florida, leaving an approximate hour-and-a-half time block, consistent with her being at Charles's residence, which is why I'm saying you could see there could be more arrests, right? Donna and Harvey Adelson traveled to Orlando for the evening and then on to Tallahassee the next morning. Prior to the homicide, Magbanua was employed at a Miami area dental office. Investigation revealed that after the homicide occurred in July of 2014, Magbanua started receiving paychecks from the Adelson Institute for Aesthetics and Implant Dentistry, which were handwritten and signed by Donna Adelson. That was, of course, Harvey Adelson's practice. These paychecks started in September of 2014 and were consistently in the amount of $407.58, which she received every 2 weeks. The memo section of each check indicated it was for a period of 10 days, usually preceding the date of the check. The checks continued at least through April of 2016. That's quite some time, huh? On at least 2 different occasions, Magbanua received paychecks in advance of the time period indicated on the check and frequently received sequential checks. Magbanua received a significant amount of cash after Markel's murder. In the month following the murder, Magbanua deposited over $13,000 in cash. In 6 weeks following the homicide, she deposited more cash. than she did in the entire year leading up to the homicide. These numerous deposits were conducted mostly through ATMs in increments of $300 to $2,000. From the homicide through November of 2015, the total amount of cash that investigators identified deposited into Magbanua's account is over $56,000. This amount is over and above the paychecks that she had received. The investigation revealed that Magbanua did not work at the Adelson Institute. Magbanua was also in possession of and operating a 2001 Lexus LS430 sedan automobile, which was registered to Harvey Adelson and previously used by Charles Adelson. On January 23rd of 2016, the title for this car was transferred to Magbanua, and a new license plate was obtained in Magbanua's name. Motor vehicle records indicate the vehicle was sold to Magbanua for the price of $1,700. In addition, Magbanua received cash and numerous gifts from Charles Adelson since Markel's murder. A review of their financial records indicated that Charles Adelson and Donna Adelson had the financial means to finance this murder and provide ongoing compensation to Magbanua. On April 19th of 2016, an undercover agent made contact with Donna Adelson in reference to Markel's murder. The undercover agent provided a press release of Markel's murder, asked for $5,000, and provided a phone number at which he could be contacted. As a result of this contact, conversations were intercepted. Call number 1380. Donna Adelson called to Charles, asking him to meet her about some paperwork that was hand-delivered to her outside her condominium.
Excuse me, Mrs. Adelson? How you doing? Just want to give you this. Listen. You're scared. No, don't be scared. Listen, just want to let you know that we know that your family has been taking care of Katie and her friend Pluto for quite some time after your problem up north has been resolved. And I want to let you know that my brother, he's incarcerated. He helped your family with this problem you guys had up north. And we want to make sure that he's going through some rough times. And we want to make sure that you take care of what he's going through the way you're taking care of Katie and Tuto. Well, this will explain it. Thank you.
The Icon on South Beach was intercepted. During this conversation, when Charles inquired whether it involved him or others, Donna responded in a whisper, "Well, probably both of us." When Charles asked her to repeat herself, she stated, "Probably the two of us, and you probably have a general idea what I'm talking about." When Charles inquired further, Donna said that this was not something she wants to discuss over the phone. Yeah, he was not reading between the lines. Call number 1382. Donna and Charles discussed meeting and whether or not Charles needed to bring cash. Charles inquired whether or not a threat was involved and whether the police should be contacted. Donna responded that this time she did not believe it was a good idea. Call number 1386. Charles Adelson called and immediately told his mother, Donna Adelson, don't talk about things in the apartment or any place. He then asked if the person was black, white, or Hispanic, to which Donna said he was white. Charles said it sounded like something that needs the police. Donna said she may have to, but wants to talk to him first. When Charles asked what the letter asked for, Donna said, "This TV is probably about 5. Charles asked if they asked for $5,000, to which Donna responded affirmatively. Donna also said they mentioned an ex-girlfriend. Yeah, Charles really cannot read between the lines. Call number 1392. Charles Adelson called Catherine Magbanua after trying to reach her by phone unsuccessfully about an hour before. Charles explained the situation to Magbanua as he understood it from his mother. Something regarding her son, something regarding his ex-girlfriend, and the person asking for some money. Charles tells Magbanua that he's going to see his mom the next day to discuss the matter. There's some discussion of whether Magbanua is the girlfriend referenced by the agent. Charles said he thought his mother said the agent mentioned Magbanua's name, but he's not sure and will follow up with her if the situation does involve her. Magbanua agrees to meet Charles in person the next day, April 20th of 2016, around 4 p.m. Charles never contacted any other females to discuss the contact between his mother and the undercover agent. The morning of April 20th of 2016, Charles told his mother he would meet her at her home at 12:35 p.m. After Charles arrived at the Icon where his mother and father reside, he and Donna walked outside to a remote table behind the building and sat close together while conversing. None of their conversations were successfully captured. After meeting with Donna in person, he called Magbanua and traveled to her in Sunny Isle at the real estate office where she worked. When Charles arrived at the strip mall where Magbanua worked, they talked briefly outside, then went into a restaurant, Dolce Vita, near the real estate office. Their conversation was captured while they sat in the restaurant. The following statements Charles made directly to Magbanua were previously only audible with use of proprietary software. Through the use of an expert, the audio conversation between Magbanua and Charles was clarified. The following are portions of that conversation. 1. If they had any evidence, we would have already gone to the airport. The problem is, even if they bugged this, even if they bugged your home phone, but even if they had bugged your phone, okay? Even if they bugged your phone, okay? You're still not talking about any of this. 2. So my point is, how do you get people to talk? You throw in a smoke grenade, and then you get all the cockroaches to run out. Aha, or whatever that's saying. There's smoke in the house. There's smoke in the house, and everyone's running, and everyone's talking, and you throw a smoke grenade. What do you think? Well, yeah, it seemed like a smoke grenade was thrown, and all the cockroaches came running out. 3. They may have approached my mom because my dad may be someone who's carrying a gun. You never know if someone's, you don't want it to turn into a effing shootout, And I can tell you, a lot of times they carry on me. I mean, someone comes up to me, okay, you carrying on you right now? I mean, I'm going to start carrying one on my back, like, a holster that fits in your shirt. If someone comes up to me, they better be ready to shoot because I'm going to shoot him. Someone comes up to me asking for money right now? Yeah. And guess what? When the effing police show up and there's a doctor, there's an oral surgeon standing there with a dead gang member in the effing driveway, they're not going to come down too hard on me, and I'm not going to talk anyway. I don't know much. I don't trust them. 4. Katie, that's Catherine Magbanua's nickname, right? Katie, this is not like some chick showing off tattoos to your man. This is happening, and it's serious because these people are going to come back. They didn't go through the trouble of seeking my mom out to hand her that and then go away. So I got 2 options. They're not going away. May wish they'd go away and never come back, but they ain't going away. The trouble they went through? 5. No, it's very simple. Like, if you're going to charge me, charge me. 6. What I'm saying is that this person is not going away. They came very equipped with details. Where did the details come from? I don't know. The details. 7. 2. They said the guy's name was 2? I don't even know who the F that is. Is there just 2-0? KM Supply's name. Tuto's incarcerated now. So yeah, there's Tuto and Tato. Tuto, Luis Rivera, and Tato, Sigfredo Garcia. I think I got that right. And I know that you've been helping out Katie and helping your family and helping out Katie and her family. Now Tuto's family needs your help. My mom was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he goes, well, maybe this will refresh your memory. And he handed it to her, KM talking. And she said, respect, spoke like, polite. She goes, polite and well-spoken. I said, did he act thug? Oh man, did he act thug? Okay, sorry, carry on. Did he act thug? or did he have talk with like a thick Spanish accent or anything? She said no. I said, was he white or Hispanic? She said he was white, but he could have been Hispanic, but that came talking. Yeah, could have mistakes. I mean, everybody in Miami is Hispanic, so it's like you can't tell. 8. So, Katie, they'll be back. These people know about. Whoever it is knows information. 9. Let me ask a question. When everybody was there the next day, did any of you take any money? It's not like you're driving around in a Bentley, cruising around in a mega yacht, you know? Someone he must at some point, because otherwise he'd have no idea that I had anything to do with. 10. It could. I wish it was a cop playing games. Why didn't they know it was me? If it was a cop playing games or an investigator playing games, and they didn't mention me, they did mention your son's girlfriend, Katie, not mention me at all and my family. And I think if they thought I had something to do with it, they would find me and they'd talk to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, go talk to the person who's involved, not effing people who aren't involved. Interesting statement there, Charlie. 11. And I'm not involved. But if they knew your relationship with me, not my family, like I dated you, not my mom. Yeah, one would hope so. They knew my dad's name. This person obviously doesn't even know that we dated. That's the direct connection. Is who was her boyfriend? The 71-year-old guy, Dr. Adelson, or the 37-year-old Dr. Adelson? Yeah, 37. Let's go talk to him. Dr. Adelson. That's who they talk to. Not waste your time with mom. They needed to talk to someone who knew what the F went down. And so, wouldn't it make sense that your connection to my family is me? 12. Your connection to my family is not my mom. Like, yeah, you work for the office now because the checks are from there. And that's just because you come in and work on the weekends, which I trusted you doing because I'm never there when I see you. You tell me you do it and the place looks clean, so you get your checks. You clean up, whatever, but that's neither here nor there. This person knows information, and even if they are cops, that information said your name. And they also know that they're claiming that somebody who had something to do with it is incarcerated. I don't know anybody in jail. KM. 13. KM. Him. 14. This is what I want you to do. I want you to call up this person and say that I got a call from some friends of mine who say that you reached out to them and that you mentioned my name. And remember, protect your name recently. So what you're going to say is, I got a call from some friends of mine who said that you had reached out and that you had mentioned my name. These people want to go to the police because they had nothing to do with it. What you're talking about, okay? And frankly, I don't know what you're talking about, but the name sounds familiar of who's incarcerated. So I'm going to give you something as charity to help the less fortunate, but do not contact these people again or they're going to the police. And let them know you had to do everything in the world to prevent these people from going to the police because they don't know anything and I don't know anything. And that the name sounds a little familiar, and that I'm going to help you out with some charity, and don't ever contact me, my friends, or my family again, or we will go to the police. 15. I mean, Katie, I'll go to the moon and back for you. That's without even saying, I don't need to say that. KM, but that's what, it's like, you know what I'm saying. KM, help me out. Like, you know it. I don't even have to. I don't have to sit here and tell you what I would do. I could show you what I could do. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how I am. Like, I look for things to do. You don't ask me for shit. I'm the one that's like, hey, Noah's birthday's coming up. I got you. I'm the one who's like, anything I can, you don't ask. I'm the one who's like, hey, I'll sell you the Lexus for a very good price. I know you're having car problems. You know what I'm saying? Like, I am the one who, I don't have to tell you, I show you. That's the difference. 16. I know, my head was, when I was leaving the house, I literally had the bag out and I had it with my car keys. I know, well, if you want, you guys can swing by my house later. So what are we doing? KM talking. I want you to take it back. Write the number down and I'm going to give you cash. And I want you to talk to 712, what? 65, 70? After the in-person meeting with Magbanua, Charles called Donna back, that's his mother, to report about his meeting and said he is handling everything. Donna then called Charles back, sounding very concerned. On April 21st of 2016, calls were intercepted between Magbanua and Charles, and they attempt to disguise their conversation using real estate references such as security, property posted incorrectly, and wrong tenants for rental property. Charles and his dad Harvey met for dinner late that evening. Magbanua and Garcia were intercepted having numerous arguments over the phone. The morning of April 21st, 2016, it appeared Magbanua was trying to convince Garcia to figure out who the phone number belonged to and place the call himself. In a heated exchange, Garcia said, "I'm not making that effing phone call." He later said, "I'm going to take care of this effing problem." On Monday, April 25th, 2016, a letter was sent to Harvey and Donna Adelson. This letter was sent via USPS by investigators for the purpose of follow-up from the undercover's initial conversation. Calls intercepted indicate Donna shared the information with Charles, who in turn forwarded to Magbanua. Magbanua again asked Garcia to either determine who the phone number belonged to or call the phone number. Magbanua reported to Charles the phone was either out of service or not a good number. It appeared Garcia lied to Magbanua about making the call or had not called the correct phone number. The agent's phone was not called and was working properly after conducting tests to verify. Later, the same date, Charles called Magbanua and asked if she was on her way. It appeared that Charles and Magbanua had been communicating through a different source to schedule a meeting. Later review of iCloud messages from Charles's records indicate that he and Magbanua would often communicate via WhatsApp, a phone application that allows for secure communication not retrieved in a cellular record. Charles directed her to Harvey and Donna's building to meet with them. Charles told Magbanua that he was talking to his parents about everything. Charles continued to try and convince her to meet at Donna and Harvey's building, but eventually agreed to meet with her at another location. Magbanua called Charles back, who advised that they are meeting at a marina near Monty's. On April 26th of 2016, Charles called Donna and they discussed the conversation that occurred the night prior. Donna said she felt better after their conversation. Donna asked Charles to let her know once things are taken care of. He further stated that if you don't know who the person is, it's a much bigger problem. Charles said, if you know who it is, it's very, very easy. Charles told Donna to stop getting worked up about things. Charles assured Donna there was nothing she needed to worry about and that it was being looked into. On May 4th of 2016, at approximately 2:09 a.m., a text message was sent to Donna's cell phone from the undercover agent. Later in the day, Charles asked Donna if she was okay, and Donna advised she would talk to Charles about it on Sunday. Charles wanted to talk to Donna before Sunday, and they agreed to Charles coming by around 11:30 a.m. the following day, May 5th, 2016. While driving to meet with Donna, Charles called Magbanua, advising there was a new problem and he may need to meet with her later that day. On May 5th of 2016, Charles arrives at the Icon and they agree to meet at the pool area to discuss the text message. This time, Harvey is present with Charles and Donna as they huddled at a corner area for privacy. You see why there could be more arrests? There was no oral intercept captured due to the location that they had the conversation. After the meeting, Charles left the Icon and called Magbanua, asking her how someone would get his mother's number. Magbanua told Charles it's possible to locate the phone number online. Charles used specific phrases sent via the text message. Charles called Donna and they discussed paying the $5,000. Charles advised the sooner they pay, the money the better. They discussed being nice but firm when the money is paid so the person knows that it is only a one-time payment. On Friday, May 6th of 2016 at 5:03 p.m., Donna successfully contacted the agent by calling his phone number. The duration of the call was 8 minutes and 48 seconds. The call was recorded by the FBI. In summary, Donna made the excuse her grandchildren had possession of her phone, so she did not know he called. Oh my word, blame the grandchildren, right? Donna went over the previous contacts between herself and the agent. She said she took him seriously and she was stressed out. She claimed she asked friends what she should do. She denied knowing anything referenced by the agent concerning help provided to her by the agent's friend, Rivera. She then brought up the reward offered and suggested that he seek that out instead. The agent reminded her all he asked for was $5,000. Donna claimed she had nothing to do with the death of her ex-son-in-law and that she was left out of the loop. The agent reminded her the problem was not going away, and she did know Magbanua and what was done for her. Donna continued to deny knowledge and ended the conversation by saying she would call the agent back. Call number 32905716 at 5:07 p.m. Charles told Magbanua about a new CD he wanted her to listen to, indicating he had a recording of the call between Donna and the agent. Charles used the reference "potbelly pigs, police," to which Magbanua responded, "That's not good." On May 25th, 2016, Sigfredo Garcia was arrested for his involvement in this case. Remember, he's the one who pulled the trigger and got life without parole. On May 26, 2016, electronic surveillance suggested that Charles Adelson and Catherine Magbanua were in close proximity to each other and may have met in the overnight early morning hours. On June 28th of 2016, Luis Rivera was arrested for his involvement in this case. He's the snitch. On September 30th, 2016, a proffer was conducted with Luis Rivera in the presence of his attorney. This proffer was not recorded. Rivera was sworn prior to any testimony. Rivera stated that he has known Sigfredo Garcia since childhood. Garcia told Rivera about a high-dollar robbery that he wanted to do with Rivera in Tallahassee, Florida. The first time Rivera and Garcia traveled to Tallahassee was in June of 2014. Once they departed for Tallahassee in June of 2014 was when Rivera learned Garcia wanted him to commit a murder and not a robbery. Garcia promised Rivera $30,000 to commit the murder. While en route to Tallahassee, Garcia provided Rivera with more details explaining a woman with 2 kids wanted her ex-husband murdered so she could have full custody of the children in Miami. Garcia told Rivera the offer was presented to him by Catherine Magbanua and the total payment for the murder would be $100,000. Rivera suggested robbing the woman of the $100,000 instead of committing the murder. The two traveled with a long-barrel .38 caliber Taurus revolver and a short-barrel black .38 caliber S&W revolver. The two drove around the victim's residence and followed the victim's vehicle. Rivera recalled Garcia having a colored, printed photo of the victim with words printed on it. Rivera could not recall what was printed. They would eventually park the car at Winthrop Park and wait for the victim to leave. Rivera would later show investigators where they parked and the routes they took to the victim's residence. Rivera indicated Garcia told him Magbanua approached Garcia with the offer of $100,000 to be divided amongst the three. $40,000 for Garcia, $35,000 for Rivera, and the remainder was for Magbanua. Garcia later offered $2,000 more to Rivera. After losing the victim and failing to complete the murder in June, the two decided to return to Miami. Approximately a month later, the two returned to Tallahassee to commit the murder. Rivera rented the Prius in his name. They arrived in Tallahassee in the early morning of July 17th of 2014. The same morning, July 17th of 2014, they drove to the victim's neighborhood. While driving around, Garcia involuntarily discharged the revolver through the floorboard of the Prius. Rivera noticed the car started losing power and they learned Garcia shot a hole through the gas line. They were able to repair the vehicle and continue traveling. A search warrant was issued in October 2016 for the Prius. The fuel line underneath the passenger side of the vehicle was spliced together and the corresponding hole was located in the floorboard, consistent with the information provided by Rivera. The following morning, July 18th of 2014, Rivera and Garcia traveled back to the area of the victim's residence where they observed the victim leaving the neighborhood. They followed the victim around town as he dropped his kids off and went to Premier Gym. As they returned to the victim's residence, the victim turned off Thomasville Road prior to Benton Road. Rivera and Garcia traveled further down to Benton and entered the neighborhood from the south. As they approached the victim's residence, the victim was pulling in the driveway in front of them. They pulled in behind the victim, and as he parked in the garage, Garcia exited the Prius and approached the driver's side door of the victim's car. Garcia shot the victim twice in the head, then returned to the Prius, and the two left Tallahassee. They traveled north on Thomasville Road to I-10 to I-75, confirming the information previously discovered through electronic data. While driving back to South Florida, Garcia called Magbanua approximately an hour into the drive. Garcia told Magbanua, "It's done." Rivera explained he could hear Magbanua's voice as Garcia held the phone up to his ear. During the drive, Garcia asked Rivera to pull over near a bridge and waterway so Garcia could dispose of the firearm. Numerous attempts to locate this bridge and waterway were unsuccessful. Upon returning to South Florida, Rivera and Garcia withdrew cash from the ATM in Pembroke Pines, where they were observed on ATM security camera. They then drove to Rivera's residence. The following morning, Rivera received a call from Magbanua. She told him if he wanted the money, he needed to tell her where to meet because she could not get a hold of Garcia. Rivera knew Garcia was at Stephanie Carmona's residence, so he called a friend, Anthony Ortiz, to go pick him up. While waiting to return home, Rivera received a call from his child's mother, Jessica Rodriguez, whom he lived with. Jessica told Rivera that Garcia and Magbanua were at their residence with a package for him. Rivera returned home, then he observed Magbanua's white SUV in the driveway. As he entered the residence, he received a package from Magbanua and Garcia. Rivera did not want Jessica to know what was in the package. Rivera then left the residence with Garcia. Rivera described the package as a stack of cash, $100 bills, stapled together. In July of 2018, contact was made with June Umchinda. Umchinda was a girlfriend of Charles Adelson at the time of the undercover operation in which an FBI agent approached Donna Adelson. Of relevance in her interview was her recollection of Charles Adelson having stapled money in a safe in his residence. June stated she followed the case in the news, and when she heard about stapled money, she found it odd because she remembers Charles keeping his that way. June also testified that Charles Adelson was acting angry, agitated, and nervous around the time of the undercover operation and Magbanua's arrest. Adelson advised June that he gave Magbanua a car and financed a portion of her breast augmentation. June Umchinda also observed Donna Adelson to be stressed out during this time frame, and Donna Adelson made a statement to June Umchinda that she felt Dan Markel was haunting her from the grave. In July of 2021, contact was made with Ryan Fitzpatrick. During the interview with Fitzpatrick, it was learned that the two had a falling out in recent years over financial disagreements. He said Charles's entire demeanor changed when Magbanua was arrested. Adelson started putting up security cameras and was constantly paranoid of arrest. During a conversation with Fitzpatrick, Charles Adelson said, "You can get away with murder if you keep your mouth shut." Fitzpatrick also stated he knows Charles staples his money together because he has received money from him in that manner. Fitzpatrick said Charles staples his money in $1,000 increments. In October 2019, Garcia was tried and convicted. He was sentenced to life in prison. In April 2022, after the clarified audio recording from Dolce Vita revealed Charles Adelson making the additional incriminating statements, he was arrested for first-degree murder, solicitation to commit first-degree murder, and conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. In May of 2022, Catherine Magbanua was tried and convicted. She was sentenced to life in prison. In October 2022 and November 2022, the proffers previously mentioned were conducted with Catherine Magbanua. In October of 2023, the trial for Charles Adelson commenced. On November 6th of 2023, Charles Adelson was found guilty on all charges. He is set to be sentenced in December of 2023. They say December 12th. In Adelson's trial, Magbanua testified that Adelson told her that his mother, Donna Sue Adelson, had just departed his residence at the time Magbanua arrived on the night of the homicide. Magbanua said the money she received appeared to have been washed. Jail calls from after Charles Adelson's guilty verdict include multiple calls in which Donna Sue Adelson is telling Charles Adelson that she is getting things in order, creating trusts, and making sure her grandchildren are taken care of. Donna discusses plans for a suicide, but also discusses plans to flee to a non-extradition country. Donna Sue Adelson has considerable financial resources to accomplish this. On November 7th of 2023, Donna and Harvey Adelson booked flights to Vietnam with a stop in Dubai. The flight EK0214 departs Miami, Florida on November 13th of 2023 at 8:10 p.m. to Dubai. Flight EK0392 departs Dubai on November 15th of 2023 at 9:35 a.m. and lands in Sion at 7:35 p.m. This proceeding is true to the best of my present, and then it's signed, of course. This was on the 13th day of November. So order. This cause coming before me as a first appearance magistrate, having reviewed the preceding affidavit, the court finds probable cause is sufficient. And so then you can see that Donna Adelson was arrested. So here you can see that Donna Adelson was arrested. I'll also show you her mugshot, which I believe was from Leon County, and then she's now been transported to Tallahassee, so there was another mugshot. So I will show you that as well. And you can see, I mean, she is 73 years old, I think she is. And now she's in a suicide suit. She's on a suicide watch, of course, especially based on the statements that she made. And we shall see, now that she's been arraigned, well, what's next? When will her trial be? I wonder if it'll be relatively quick, like will it be in 2024? I would think so, based on all the other trials that have already happened, all the preparation that's already gone into this case. I think it could happen sooner rather than later, but let me know what you think in the comments below. So I'm just showing you the rest of this PCA just so that you can see what all is in here. We're on page 20 out of 24 in the county court, Leon County, Florida. State of Florida versus Donna Sue Adelson. There was the first degree murder charge, solicitation to commit murder, and you can see these are all signed, and conspiracy to commit murder. So if a jury finds her guilty, she's probably also going to get a similar sentence to perhaps Catherine Magbanua and maybe Sigfredo Garcia. We're yet to see what Charlie Adelson's sentence will be. What do you think it will be? So this is also first degree felony, conspiracy to commit first degree murder. And that's it. So, I mean, that was over an hour's worth of reading through this document. And that would be our start of the conversation. As I say, there's so many things that we could look at. I'd love to know where you're at with the case. Like, are you an expert on it? Have you followed it from the beginning? Have you never heard of this case before? Have you only looked at it a little bit? Or what? I'd love to know. So that's it for now. Thank you so much for being here as we talk about this. I will perhaps see you then for this case. Of course, I see you almost every single day on my channel on Grizzly True Crime. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please do that. Hit the subscribe button. Make sure all your notifications are on, because you just never know what I'm going live about, or if there's a YouTube short for you, or a video, a premiere, a community post, something. I'm always making something for you. I also have a second channel called Grizzly True Crime Shorts, and there's plenty more content on Patreon. So if you want to go check out Patreon, that's more like behind the scenes stuff. It's a little more personal, pictures of the cats and things like that. So if you want to check out Patreon, you can do that as well. All the links are on grizzlytruecrime.com. But for this case, shall we meet again? Maybe even before then. Maybe there's more to discuss before then. But shall we meet again to see Charlie Adelson sentenced? I'd love to see what his sentence is going to be. He was so damn cocky on that stand. I actually thought for a second that he did pretty well on the stand. But then, as I say, the closing arguments were like, yeah, no, he's annihilated. The jury came back so quick. They're like, guilty, guilty, guilty. Everyone's just like, guilty, unanimous, guilty. Wow. Okay, so looking forward to reading your comments. And I will see you again in the next one. Stay safe.